All right, it is TV. Jackson Mabokgwane in the building. How are you feeling, sir? How are you doing?
I'm very well, Kululeko. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's interesting. We live in interesting times, and it's very, exciting to speak to a current player as well. Before we do anything, really, just let our viewers know about the mindset of the players at the moment with the COVID-19. And Majita, how are they coping with the training? I know that you guys have been training online via Skype. Does that make any difference?
Yeah, it does. Obviously, it hasn't been easy to train on our own, by ourselves. But we've been given programs by our respective clubs, and yeah, we now at least they're easing things a bit. We can train a little bit in groups. So yeah, we try to just keep ourselves motivated, and we encourage each other. But there's hope. We hopefully gonna be going back soon to start training fully as a team. Yeah.
Looking forward to that. I mean, some people, I'm sure they've been gearing up and itching to go back to the field now.
Yeah, no, definitely we are looking forward to it. We miss football. It's been now 3.5 months without play and proper training. So you can imagine we've done this our whole life, and all of a sudden it's like we've all suffered serious injuries.
Sure.
Where you just have to sit at home and do nothing. So yeah, we all looking forward to
it. Probably must have been the longest stay without, and as if you mentioned, Uguti, playing football for your whole life, minus injuries. This is probably since you were 16 or 14, the longest stay without football that you've had.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've been in a sort of a professional setup, semi-professional. Obviously, I was at the School of Excellence from the age of 13. So you can imagine, football has just been my life every single day. And yeah, of course, besides injuries and off-season, I am playing football almost every single day of my life.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And of course, you've been doing great things. I've been seeing on social media, some noise about your foundation as well, Jackson Mabokgwane Foundation. And I've loved the work that you're doing as well. Tell us a bit more about that. Uguti, when was it established, and what have you been doing now with COVID-19 to help some communities?
Yeah, so the Jackson Mabokgwane Foundation was founded in 2013, and yeah, we have annual tournaments, soccer tournaments that we do, mainly in the area that I come from, around Limpopo. It's played in December, the Jackson Mabokgwane Soccer Tournament, which is 2 age groups, under 17s and open. Obviously, open is just for everyone. But it's normally a top 16 tournament, and as well we have also an annual charity event that we host, which normally is around winter, around June, and that's what we've been doing annually every year for the past 7 years. And this year, obviously with the pandemic, we had plans to do our charity event as per usual. But we had to twist things a little bit and obviously consider for those that are affected by this COVID-19. We've been out there as soccer players, encouraging people to stay home, to try and flatten the curve of the spread of this virus. And obviously some people have been home, no food, but we've made sure that we identify some of the poorest of the poor, and we donated some food parcels for them right now in June.
Yeah, and of course, funding and sponsorships, has that been very difficult for you, or you had people who are able to lend a hand here and there?
No, it's been very, very difficult for us. Obviously, there's a few business associates sometimes that come on board. But yes, we would like to urge corporates to come on board. These are certain things that we as footballers are doing our bit from our own pockets, just to try and make a difference in our communities by giving back. But yeah, we'll like to urge other companies to come and partner with us, so that together we can actually achieve even more.
Yeah, was it always goalkeeping for you, the option, or at some point when you were 16 you turned from midfielder to goalkeeper? When did it start for you?
Well, it started at a very, very young age. Well, I was, there's normally no goalkeepers when you're still very, very young.
Yeah.
We're playing one pal,
Sure.
yeah, of course, that's how it goes. We play straight football, and there's normally no goalkeepers. We just dribble each other. But yeah, it developed as we started getting older. And I made a decision one time. I said, they used to put me as a goalkeeper, and sometimes it would be cold, and I'd be like, no, I'm short, and I have to be, using my hands to
Sure.
stop all these things. Sometimes it's raining, so I wouldn't really like it. Eventually, the guys, because they would beg me all the time. Until one day I made a decision. I said, no. From now on, I'll be your Andrea Renze, guys.
Sure.
if I say I want to play infield, please don't allow me. So yeah, that's until I made a decision. But it was at a very, very young age, probably around 6, that I decided that I'll be a goalkeeper.
Yeah, at some point you mentioned earlier on School of Excellence. When does that come into your life? Do you start playing in Limpopo first, and were you spotted by a scout and then School of Excellence?
Yes, so what happened is I went to primary school in Gamatala, which is in Bloemfontein. So that's where I lived with my parents and my siblings, and I did my primary school there. And then after completing my primary school, went to the School of Excellence in Mhlongo. It was called Mhlongo School of Excellence. There was trials, and then we attended, and they selected me. So I went there for a year. And then whilst at that School of Excellence, ahead of trials of the Transnet School of Excellence, the one in Esselen Park in Joburg. So then I went for trials, and fortunately I got selected, and it was out of thousands and thousands.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also very, very far from home. My late mom actually took me there. We had to hike, and
Yeah, I know.
yeah, so I live in Gamatala, and the trials were somewhere in Ellisras, so something like 2 to 3 hours the distance. So we hiked, and I was the only one that was selected for that trials for the School of Excellence. And yeah, that's when I joined the Transnet School of Excellence, and I was there for 5 years.
Wow, man, lovely story. And your mom, it occurred to her that she is helping someone who's talented. Did she know? Did the family know Uguti you did have the ability, or were you the one pushing them Uguti, no, I know how to play, or had they seen you before?
They had not seen me, but they had heard that this boy is talented. He's a good goalkeeper, because I was playing for the school, and for all age groups, and even the teams in my village at the time, they would come and ask for me. No, where's Jackson? No, Jackson is not here. He went to play with the other team.
Sure.
So
Sure.
they started noticing that this boy is actually talented, and obviously there's also certain people that would tell my parents that your boy is talented. You should guide him, and you should motivate him, buy him boots, and I'd be like, yes, and I could get a new pair of boots.
Sure.
Yeah, so yeah. They did know, and with my mom taking me for trials there, we just heard of them all over the radio, and I told her about it, and she just didn't hesitate. She said, oh, no problem, tomorrow we will go. And I traveled with her, and the rest is history.
Yeah, I mean, you say 5 years at the School of Excellence. At some point there's Sundowns. Not necessarily sure about the story, but School of Excellence to where and why and what happened?
Okay, so I joined the School of Excellence, I think it was in 2001, and then after completing my matric in 2005, there was a couple of teams interested, and I remember one of them was Supersport United, and things got a little bit complicated. I had an agent. Well,
from the school already?
From the School of Excellence, because I was already part of the national under-17 team.
Okay, nice.
And we had just returned from, I think was it the African Youth Games?
Sure.
I'm not sure if it was in Gambia, but so already there was a lot of teams and scouts from overseas that were interested in us, and so it just happened that after I completed, there was a couple of teams that needed me, that wanted me. I didn't feel comfortable at the time. I decided, no, I'm a bit skeptical for other certain reasons, and then decided to join Wits, the reserve sides, and then I was there for a few months, about 3-4 months. Then after playing the Bay Hill tournament with Wits, we...
Oh, you were in Cape Town?
Yes, we went to play the Bay Hill tournament with Wits, and then upon our return, I was invited to start training with the first team, And I
You're
trained.
still 17, 18 at the time.
Yes, I was now 17, turning 18. So yeah, I trained with the first team, and that's when.
And this is 2005, so it must have been Roger de Sa around this time.
That's when Roger had just left for Pirates, and we had Bobby Solomon.
Oh yes, I remember Coach Bobby Solomon. Yes,
and they had just now
was it after relegation or
no, after they got promoted.
Sure.
Yeah. So I trained with the team, the first team, for a couple of weeks. Now, while I'm busy training with the team, they signed Munib Josephs from Ajax. Now Munib comes and they forgot about me, completely forgot about me. They were talking about me so much, and they were rating, and they were saying, you know what, this young boy, and for a couple of weeks, and the next thing Munib Josephs came, and they completely forgot about me. And I started going to the coaches. Coaches, am I going to be signed? Coaches, when am I being signed? And you know how it is in pre-season, and we are running, and I'm not used to these things, and we're training hard, and I'm still a young boy. And they took their time, they delayed a bit, and then until I got a call from Mamelodi Sundowns. Alex Heredia was the goalkeeper coach at the time at Mamelodi Sundowns. So he had worked with me at the national team, under 17. He was working with me. So at that time, Sundowns, they had Dudamel, and they had Brian Baloyi, Calvin Marlin.
Wow.
Andrea Renza was just leaving.
Wow.
So they said they want a young goalkeeper. Remember, Chiefs had just promoted Itu, and Pirates had just promoted Senzo. So Sundowns wanted a young goalkeeper as well, and they said, okay, fine, where can we find one? And they invited me. They gave me a call. I said, I'm training with the first team here. I'm just waiting, and they're taking their time. And they said, okay, no, if they're taking their time, come train with us here. I said, no. They said, yeah, no, come over. Let the coaches see you.
Yeah.
I said, okay, no problem. And the following day, I went the other direction.
Was there no technical thing about having to compensate for this youth player?
No, I was just 2-3 months. So obviously I was actually a product of the School of Excellence.
Okay.
Not a product of Bidvest Wits development or anything like that. So yeah, I decided I was living in Naturena with my sister, and instead of going to Bloemfontein, I went all the way to Klorkop. And then I trained with them. I think 2-3 days, and they signed me. After training for 3 days, they called me to the office. They said, in actual fact, what happened was we played a friendly match. I think it was on a Friday, and the president was there, Patrice. And after we played, I played so well in that friendly game that after the match, he called me. He's like, what's your name? Jackson. I said, oh, Jackson, okay. When did you arrive? I said, no, day before yesterday, Mr. President. Okay. Have you signed? No. What are you waiting for, guys? Guys, what are you waiting for? Give the boy a contract. So I was like, it was like I was dreaming. I'm like, oh, Mr. Mutsipe is busy shouting at people, and they must give me a contract. That was it. The following day, they said, come.
At this point, your agent is involved in the talks with Sundowns?
No, I actually did not officially have an agent. I just had people that were representing me, and were offering me to certain clubs, as I said, obviously, from when I left the School of Excellence. But I was still a little bit young, and I did not understand too much of, that kind of, or that field, in terms of having agents and things like that. So I didn't trust them.
Were you happy with the contract as an 18-year-old? Did it look like an amount that should be paid to an 18-year-old?
Yes, I was excited. I was over the moon. I had actually rejected offers that were even for a bigger money than what I started with at Sundowns. It was never about the money for me, because you could imagine when I refused certain contracts, and I decided to go and play for the Wits reserves for free. They were not paying me a cent. So, but I had rejected certain offers because I felt like I was not sure, I was not trusting, and I had to follow my gut feeling, and that was that.
Yeah, not a lot of people would remember you as a Sundowns player. And that would have a lot to do with the fact that Rafael Dudamel was there, Calvin Marlin, Spider-Man, Brian Baloyi was there as well. Talk to me about the development that you would have had at that point there. What did you learn there, and at what point did you realize that you're not going to be a feature here?
No, for me, like I said, when I joined Sundowns as an 18-year-old, for me it was just a dream come true to say, I'm going to have this opportunity to learn, and it was never about I'm going to play and I'm going to be, superstar here at Sundowns. So, it was just a matter of, I've broken now into first team football, and I'm just gonna make sure that I learn as much as I can from these guys. And that was the attitude that I had from as young as I was, and I made sure that I learned as much as I could from Brian Baloyi and Calvin Mullen. When I arrived, they released Dudamel, and he went back home, Venezuela or Argentina, I can't remember where he comes from. So
I think it's actually the national team coach of Venezuela.
No.
I remember in Copa America last year, he was actually coaching them.
Wow! Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. So yeah. I went there with an attitude of learning, and I did that, and I learned so much. Together with all the other coaches that we had, that had my time at Sundowns. I think in the 5 years that I was there, we had maybe 8 coaches that I've worked with in the 5 years. It was a difficult time. The team was struggling to find the right coach.
Would it be fair to say that you are a league title winner then? Because
yes,
if you were there under Miguel Raimondi and Neil Tovey, you must have won the league.
No. I actually arrived at Sundowns under Coach Gordon Igwescent.
Oh yeah.
Yes. And yes, we did win the league with Coach Gordon. I think it was 2007-8 season. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, we did win the league and a couple of other trophies. Nedbank Cup, Lerato Shabangu scored a cracker for us against ACs. I think I was on the bench in that final, and I was.
Oh yeah, I remember the final against ACs.
Yes, and there's another one, Super 8. We won for Gift Leremi. For the late Gift Leremi at that time, and we dedicated it to him. So yeah, I did win a couple of trophies with them. But yeah, of course, like I said, for me at that time, growing up, and it was just a matter of let me learn, and those lessons, believe you me, are now kept in me for the rest of my life. So of course, then I went on to stay for a couple more years after I signed. I stayed for 4 years. I think on the 5th year, I asked them to go on loan. I said, okay, they had signed also along the years, as obviously Brian Baloyi retired and Calvin Mullen. So there was Dennis Onyango, and then there was Wayne Sandilands, and then there was the dreadlock goalkeeper Moses. Timberlake to Moses.
Oh, was he there at some point?
Yes, he
came.
It's
insane. That's insane. I'm sure no Sundowns fan remember that.
He came and he left. He came, I think, for about a season, and then they let him go. He came to Celtic.
Yeah, I was speaking to Lerato about the idea that you could be at a club, because Sundowns was going through a transition at the time. Yeah. They were signing players, maybe 7 players every transfer period.
Yeah.
But the impact of many coaches in a short period of time on the players. Lerato was saying, look, we are senior players, we're good players, we're getting paid good money, and we had to achieve. Yeah. Your observation about that, because every time there's a new coach, maybe you're hopeful you may break into the starting lineup. How did it affect you when there's so many coaches in a short space of time?
No, like I said, for me, the attitude, obviously, whenever I started feeling like I was ready, that's when I asked them to go on loan, because I believed that if they believed I was ready, they would have played me. They would have started playing me and started introducing me and so on. So obviously they had an impact, because then when there's too many coaches, when whichever coach comes, he knows, he gets told that, you know what, we've had 4 or 5 coaches in the past 2 years. So you know the story. If you don't deliver, you're going to go. So obviously whichever coach that was coming in, he was coming in to make sure that he gets the results. So obviously as the youngster, you'll probably be the last to be looked at, because he must now put on the experienced players and make sure that he wins trophies so that he doesn't get fired as well. So obviously I never looked at it in that way that, okay, new coach now, maybe let me be hopeful. I think maybe I can break in, because I knew that obviously the new coach that comes in, the first people that he's going to talk to, that he's going to listen to, are the senior players, and he's going to play them anyway. So my attitude has always been about learning and making sure that I just prepare myself, so that whenever they decide that we starting to introduce you gradually, then I would be ready. But obviously that didn't happen. That's why I'm saying that obviously the change, the coaching changes affected me in that way, because if it was one coach for a long time, then eventually he will be able to then introduce me gradually, because he would have obviously stayed long enough to know and understand, and also to really see my full potential.
Yeah.
And so obviously that affected me a little bit, but I also looked at it for myself to say, you know what, you also need to start somewhere and actually build your career up.
Yeah, I mean, there's one perception about Mamelodi Sundowns between 2005 and maybe before Pitso came in. Maybe it happens again. It happens now with Pitso, that every time you win something, the president will say, "That's your prize money. Share it amongst yourselves." For a fringe player in that team, when you were winning a league title, Cubs, how does that compensation work out? Do they say anyone who's played minutes will get the bonus, or does it say everyone who's part of the senior team will get the bonuses?
Wow, that was a long time ago. I can't even remember exactly how the bonus structure was at the time, but it has always been the case with the president. He at Sundowns, he said, if you win, all the prize money is yours, and sometimes you'd even double it. I think the time we won the league was 1 million rand, and he doubled it. He put in another million on top. And so obviously, it's for the players, and we don't share equally. Obviously, you share according to how you've contributed. So, but even if you played 0 minutes, the guys still made sure that everybody must get something, because we've trained together, we've been a team the whole season. So the money was shared, but it was also shared fairly.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. At some point there is Platinum Stars.
Yes.
And there is Mpumalanga Black Aces.
Yeah.
A little bit about how these moves came about before we talk about your stay at Paris.
Yes, so now I moved at Sundowns. I felt like I'm now ready. I'm itching for game time. I'm growing. And I said, okay. I asked for a loan. And at first they didn't want to let me go. And the one time when Vasco da Gama got promoted, they had signed Abosbusiso Zuma.
Yeah, I remember, yeah.
So I was actually supposed to be loaned there. And the two teams didn't agree on the finances. And I was actually already in Cape Town starting to train. I was so excited. And I'm like, I was looking at this team and I'm like, we have such great players. Our Keenan Lesh, like I said, Zuma, and we had, I forgot this guy's name. He was so good. The left foot, the colored guy played for, but he was a little bit aging at that time. I forgot his name.
Franklin Kale, did he go there as well?
Not Franklin Kale. Yeah, but anyway, so I was there, trained for a day or two while they're busy negotiating in the office, and they didn't agree on finances. And I said, I'm not staying any longer. If you guys are not agreeing, before I get injured, let me go back.
Yeah.
So I went back. And
very quickly, with the loans, how would the deal go about? Would it be 50-50 in terms of the salary, or what?
It will depend how obviously how they negotiate. If so, I can't really say, but obviously if.
But generally in football, it works like that they would split the salary because they have borrowed you, or is the expectation that Eva, or Chiefs, or anyone would pay your full salary for the duration that you are there?
Like I said, a loan deal is basically you being given an opportunity to go and grow, and it's to the benefit of the mother team. And it's to the benefit of the player as well, because you are here at Sundowns, for example, and you're not getting enough game time, and you're still young, and we loan you out. Let me just give you a practical example. Pesita, we said Sundowns is a young boy, and they see, okay, fine, he's not going to play much, and but we want him to grow. We want him to play. We don't want him to play MDC. We don't want him to play friendly games. But he's going to struggle to play enough in the first team. So let's loan him out to an NFD team where he's going to play regularly and really get that game time and that match fitness. And that's what happens. And then a season later, he's played and he's gained all the experience and he's an even better player. Then, of course, you have him back. Now he's your player. You have actually benefited. The player has actually benefited because then he has managed to get himself game time, which he was not being able to get, at the mother team. So when you come back, the mother team has benefited. So obviously with finances, because also when he goes to the other team, he plays for them, he works for them, they also benefit. So everybody benefits, but that's what I'm saying, that in terms of the finances, it's all about how you agree. Either the mother team can continue paying you your full salary and your full signing on fees, or they could split it into halves, whatever the agreement is. It's not necessarily a big deal or it's a must that it must happen in a certain way. So, yeah.
So you almost joined Vasco da Gama. At some point, Platinum Stars come into the picture.
Yeah, so after going to Vasco da Gama and they don't agree on terms of who should pay and 50-50 or whatnot, and so then Platinum Stars came and they asked for me. They said, okay, we want you to come over, and I joined Platinum Stars. I said, okay, no, I'll go to Platinum Stars and go and play on loan. So I went to Platinum Stars on loan, and I went there and I did well. I played very, very well, and after that, Sandilands said, "Oh, we want you back." And then and I said, "No, I'm not." I said, "No, I'm not coming. I'm not coming back." And
so them wanting you back is a desire, or is it a contractual obligation? You still have 3 or 4 more years with us.
Let me just say, it's because obviously I played well at Platinum Stars, and they said, "Okay, so this boy is playing well. He has really proven something to us, and we believe that he actually was right by saying I'm ready." So they said, no, come back, come home, come compete with the big boys. And but I refused. I said, no, I don't want to. I'll rather continue where I am, because if I come back there, then maybe I'm gonna start again and get demotivated. So I'm on a high and I just want to continue playing football. And while we were busy in the negotiations, and Bidvest Wits came, and one of the coaches that was with me at Sandilands was now at Wits. So that's when he said, no, I want that goalkeeper. I wanted to play him at Sandilands. I never got a good opportunity to play him. And Habas was the
yes,
name of the
I remember.
So he said, I want that boy. And then Wits came. Wits, they found me still in negotiations with Platinum Stars and Sandilands, and Wits put in an offer, and they bought me from Sandilands. So obviously I didn't go back to Platinum, although I would have loved to continue with Platinum Stars at the time. Yeah. But then I went straight to Wits.
Yeah, I mean, Mpumalanga would have been there. Who was your main competition at Platinum Stars?
Yes, so I was there and Mpumalanga joined, but as I was leaving, that's when Mpumalanga. But we played together for I think about 6 months, and but obviously I was. He had just been signed, I think, from can't remember, NFD team in KZN.
Sure.
Kings.
Real Kings. Or
yeah,
something
I think
like that.
it was that. So that team, he had just joined. Rusty, and so I was with him, and but I was playing obviously ahead of him at the time, and I left. After I left, then that's when obviously he became
the main goalkeeper.
And I immediately after I left, and that's when the team just immediately won the MTN 8 and took home.
I remember they were really good.
Yeah, we had a great team. We
They
had
were
a
really
very,
good.
very good. We had a super team, and yeah.
When you were there, whether was there? I mean, we always ask this question to anyone who's played for a team that eventually goes down. Was there anything or any link or any idea that the way in which the club was run, it's not sustainable? Or at that time, the Royal Bafokeng group was still taking care of the players and taking care of the team? You could not have noticed that this is a team that is doomed at some point.
No, as a player, because also, like I said, you gotta understand I was coming from Sundowns, and as a young player, not having played much, and my main focus was just to play football, and I had just been there for a short period of time, and everything was fine. We were getting paid on time, and things were run properly. So no one ever thought that maybe there were problems or financial issues or anything like that. No, we didn't notice any of that, and like I said, for me as well, I was just more focused on playing football.
Yeah, Bidvest Wits, eventually you play for them. You had dished them when we were younger for game time. Yeah. What sort of challenges and achievements that you meet with when you get there?
Well, similar challenges. I then arrive at Bidvest Wits, and the second time round, and I got injured. Now, Now, the funny story is when I get injured, other goalkeepers get injured too. There was me, there was Emil Baron, there was the young boy Steven Hoffman. Jethrin Ba was not, he was still with the juniors.
Is it this time when Andre Aronson becomes the record goalkeeper, 45-year-old?
That's when he had to come out of retirement because I struggled with an injury and Emil Baron injured. We had Steven Hoffman, who was the youngster. And at some point, we just had no goalkeepers. And unfortunately, Andre had said to come out of retirement to play, I think, the final 2 games of the league. Yeah. And
so you contributed to your record because that's the oldest player to play in the PSL. And it's because of you and Emil Baron and Steven Hoffman.
No, it was just a horrible situation. It was something that no one saw it coming. But that's what happened. And things did not go so well because then I struggled with injuries, struggled to get the rhythm going, and then eventually, the funny story that happened, Munib Josephs comes again
from Pirates.
Now Munib Josephs signed from Pirates. Kevin Hunt arrives and he signs Onyango, and it's me, it's Dennis Onyango, it's Munib. It's and Andre Aronson is the goalkeeper coach this time, and he's having a hell of a headache. We all want to play. We are all fit. We all want to go. Dennis is coming from Sundowns. They loaned him out to get game time. He wants to play. I have arrived. I was there the season before. I didn't play much. I was injured. I'm fit. I want to play. Munib Josephs is coming from Pirates.
And he won the treble.
Won the treble,
double
treble. He's coming there as a big player. He wants to play. He's number 1. So it was just chaos. Andre Aronson had so much stress. He didn't know what the hell was going to happen. So 6 months later, Munib becomes number 1. He plays. Me and Dennis, we continue. We fight. We fight for the number 1 position and so on. And after 6 months, I said, no, I want to play. I want to go. And they said, no, Jackson, no, you must continue. Remember, you are our player, but Dennis is on loan, so, you need to stay. Otherwise, if they ask for Dennis back, what are we going to do?
In their minds,
yes.
Dennis is not a permanent situation. So
Dennis is just there.
You literally only are fighting against Munib Josephs.
Yes. So basically, they have got 2 goalkeepers, which is me and Munib Josephs, and Dennis is just here on loan. I said, but you brought Dennis, so you brought him on loan, and no, but the competition. Remember, you guys once got injured all at once, and we had no goalkeepers, so we have to have goalkeepers that are ready. And I said, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be part. I'm leaving. I want to go. I said, no, we can't let you go. We bought you, Jackson. I said, I know you bought me, but I need to play. And they said, okay. Eventually, they allowed me to go on loan to Mpumalanga Black Aces. And I was excited. And at that time, I was like now starting to feel something is about to come out because, I was fit and I was really feeling myself.
You in your mid-20s and you're establishing yourself.
Yes.
I mean, eventually you get to Mpumalanga Black Aces. You even are in the radar of the national team at the time, and you do well. There's Themba Zwane there. There's decent players. Just talk to us about the quality of that side. I mean, you guys got support in Mpumalanga as well. You were number 4, their highest finish in history in Mpumalanga Black Aces, and then, of course, they go away to become Cape Town City. But just describe to us your stay there.
Yeah, it was amazing. So I left. I went there on loan for about 6 months. And after the loan spell, they wanted me back at Wits. I said, no, I'm not coming. And there was a huge fight between me and the management at the time. I said, there's no way I'm coming back to Wits. I'm going to continue at Aces. And they said, no, but Jackson, you need to stay. Munib got injured. We're having problems. And the MTN 8 is about to kick off. And the transfer window is closing at the end of the month. Can you please then just play a couple of games for us? We will make sure the deal happens before the transfer window closes. So we had an agreement, and I said, okay, fine, I'll play. I played the MTN 8, and then before the window closed, we signed the deal. They sold me to Black Aces. And I went to Aces, and yeah, that was the best time. I had been with Clive Barker.
All of that happens with Bidvest Wits, and then you move to Mpumalanga Black Aces. I know that there's a point where the club becomes Cape Town City, and that negatively affects the players. But you did well. I mean, you guys did well to be number 4 in the league, and you were also in the national team radar. Just wrap up for us in terms of your stay at Mpumalanga Black Aces, and some of the achievements that you had.
Yeah, so how it came about, like I said, when I forced my way out at Wits and had a real fight with the management, is because I was feeling that, I'm going to break into the national team. And I was playing as number 1, and I was happy at Aces and at Clive Barker. I just didn't want nothing else but to go back there, because I could see what was coming out of the team. We had good players, Ndoro and Kalinge, Tembazwani, Kuboni.
Those guys were very good.
Yeah, we had a very, very, very good team. So, of course, we went on, and I think we achieved the club's highest finish, number 4 in the league. And then, of course, Coach Machine came after the season. They signed Coach Machine, and Clive Barker left. And we continued, and we did well again under Coach Machine, and still the club was promising, but of course the club ended up getting sold, and I was leaving at the time. I had just obviously had interest from Pirates, and I decided, okay, I'm gonna sign for Pirates. I'm not gonna go with the club to Cape Town.
There was a perception, Uguti, when you're moving with Mushin to Orlando Pirates and some of the players as well. Was it Pirates wanting you, or the situation presenting itself with the team now moving to Cape Town and then Mushin moving to Orlando Pirates? Did you move with him?
Yeah, no. So what happened was just after the season finished, I signed with Pirates, and obviously the contract now goes to an end. And in the during the off season, Machine signs for Pirates. So I had I signed before Machine.
Was it a pre-contract that you signed with Pirates? Or?
So no. Actually, my contract was ending end of June.
Sure.
So as the contract ended, I signed with Pirates.
Oh, okay.
So obviously now during the contract has ended and the league has finished. It's in June. So obviously it's off season. So as we are in off season, then Pirates went on.
So when you signed for Pirates, you have no idea who's coaching, because I can't remember who Mohsin replaced at Orlando Pirates at the time.
I think it was Eric Tintler that he replaced.
Yes, because Tinkler goes on to be at Cape Town City.
Yes, but I don't think he went there directly. I can't remember.
Anyway,
obviously I signed for Pirates, and I don't know who's the coach, who's going to be the coach. so it happens that I think, I'm not sure if I was at the national team camp, and we hear that, Coach Machine has signed for Pirates. I was like, oh, wow, okay. Well, then wasn't much of a big stress for me, because then I knew I knew exactly who he is and what he's all about, and I was just like, okay, fine. Well, although he's can be a headache, but he's I think one of the best coaches that I've ever worked with.
Yeah. So those outbursts are real. Whatever we see on TV, it happens in training as well.
Yes. He's a top coach.
Yeah.
He's a quality coach Machine. So yeah, but so I was then looking forward to working with him. Then of course I then joined Pirates, and we worked together at Pirates with him.
Yeah, I mean, there must have been Brighton and yourself and Wayne Sandilands at the beginning. I'm not sure.
No, it was Ovono.
Yes, Ovono.
Mponchana and Brighton. So it was the 3 goalkeepers: Brighton, Mhlongo, Ovono, and Mponchana. So I was signed, and there was now.
But that's insane, though. Like, when you think about it, all of them, maybe Brighton at the time in his age must have been the last in line, but all of you, Ovono was taken from a national team, and then Mponchana, of course, was a superstar at Platinum Stars, winning so many trophies. Now you're going into another, situation where there needs to be rotations.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, obviously, now I'm also coming there as a national team player.
Yes.
And Brighton was actually number 1, because he was also knocking on the national team door. He was now starting to be called in. So it was a chaos situation. And at the same time, the biggest problem that we had was that only Mponchana, you could say, because he had played regularly for Platinum Stars for a season or 2. And myself, I was now obviously establishing myself as number 1 at Aces for a season or 2. But we didn't really have a number 1 that was now for 5, 6, 6 years experience in the league and all of that, so we had a situation where all the goalkeepers need game time, and we all need to compete, and we all need to, for us to get to that level, and it became a huge problem, because then obviously you then not be sure who to trust, because if this one plays and he doesn't play so well, then the other ones are also putting their hands up, and you're thinking, okay, I can choose from any one of them. They're all quality goalkeepers, but not one that's really, really, really above the rest.
Yeah, I mean, when you play at a team, there's Ovono, there's Brighton, Mhlongo, there's Mpumalanga, and there's yourself. I think a lot of people who are looking at that, they see an unhealthy situation. It's healthy for competition, but when you don't know who's going to be your number one, it becomes problematic. It happened with Chiefs as well, with Mpumalanga and Akpeyi, blah, 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 blah. When you don't know who's going to be a goalkeeper on the weekend, then it's a little bit problematic. How is it for you as a player?
Yeah, I think I've always said it. I said when you have got too much quality, it becomes a problem. And which is, I think, earlier we spoke about Sundowns, where Sundowns was signing so many players. At one point we had 10 strikers at Sundowns. Godfrey Sapula, Mangoba Ngwenya, Lunisani Ndlela, Jose Torrealba. We had top players, top 10. I'm talking 10 strikers.
Yeah.
Mbesuma. So when you have too much quality in one position, you won't really succeed, because then there's too much unhappiness, and it's not healthy. The competition, no matter you try and keep it healthy, it's not healthy, because then you're not really getting a fair chance. You're either gonna favor one and go with the one, or you're gonna try and please everyone and give everyone a chance, and that's where you obviously gonna fall into the trap of rotation. And when you're doing having a rotation and the team is not winning, then they all look useless, because then it's like, okay, fine, but we've played this one, and he's considered, we've played that one, he's made a mistake, we played this one, he also makes a mistake, and so you can't have continuity, and you're never gonna get good results.
Yeah, it seemed at the time as though a goalkeeper was given an opportunity, and then as long as they make a mistake, they will be in there. I remember Ovono would make like huge blunders, like very huge blunders, and then some of you guys as well, you would make mistakes as well. I mean, mentally, how does that affect you? Do you feel like you're being trusted by the team? How is it, man? It's weird when we look at it. It's funny. Like, you laugh at it, you're like, Paris is a big team. They're not supposed to be having the situation in the first place.
Yeah. So, like I said, the problem is now it's having too much quality. When you have too much quality, it's what happens. Now, if Ovono was a quality goalkeeper at AFCON, he arrives at Paris, it's not a quality goalkeeper anymore. It's not possible. He made mistakes, and had he continued to play for the rest of the season, you could have probably became a top goalkeeper. You don't know, because now obviously, because of the quality that you have, you end up not giving people fair chances. You just say, you make a mistake, out, then obviously you'll remember Ovono as a flop signing, but wherever he is, he's probably still growing as a player, and he's probably doing well wherever he is. You know what I'm saying? He didn't become a bad goalkeeper overnight, or because of those 2 games that you might remember him with. So that's what happened. Obviously, when you've got too much quality, you end up just having to give others a chance, and it's unfortunate, because then you can't really back the one that you've got. You need to have the one that you really, really trust, and you back them all the way.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very difficult season. There was Mohsin Echuguel, there was Palacios, there was Shell Yonovre. I can't remember who ended becoming a coach at the end of the season. There was the 6-1 or 6-0 loss to SuperSport United. There was a 6-0 at Mamelodi Sundowns as well. It felt like Paris were going through such a very difficult time. How was it for you guys?
Yeah, of course it was a difficult time. We can't lie about that, because things just did not go away, and but at the same time we were playing well. But I can just say we just couldn't get hit the ground running. We had the players, we had the squad, but you could understand that the new coach coming in, and the players did not understand fuck all of the tactics that he was implementing. So it was always going to take time.
How was he? I'm sure he had a problem with language. Was it very clear exactly what he's trying to do in the team? How was the dressing room responding to him?
Coach Shell, was a good coach, but he didn't stay long enough for me to really give full judgment of him and what he wanted to do. But obviously we didn't do well under him, and he didn't last. So, but I would just say he was a good coach.
Yeah, and seemingly the same dynamics that always followed you in your career about the competitiveness and so many goalkeepers. Ultimately, then there's Wayne Sandilands in the picture at some point as well, Ovono Bayavaya. I'm not sure at what point you leave there. I don't know whether Joris Dele was still already there by the time you left, but it seemed to me, just as an observer, again, Orlando Pirates is having too many goalkeepers and they're not able to decide. I mean, Mabokgwane was this Ponchane, like you couldn't see him play, and there was no opportunity for him to make mistakes, for you to say this is the reason why he's not playing as well. Ultimately, what made you say, okay, this is it for me at Pirates?
Basically it continued for the 3 years that I was there. That obviously there was rotation and they were never really sure who was number one. I think only this season now they've decided Wayne is their number one. But in my whole 3 years when I was there, we shared. First season me, Brighton, Ovono, Ponchana. Then the second season me, Brighton, Ponchana, and then Wayne joins in the third season. Me, Ponchani, Wayne, Sandilands. So we shared, and we just there was just rotation going on the whole time. And like I said, I think this season they have decided to make Wayne their number one. And obviously, but I'm just saying that at the time that when I was not there, when I was there, there was no clear number one, and that obviously affected me because I also wanted to play as number one and to be consistent and to grow. But like I said, with the quality that is there, you cannot really blame the rotation system that happened, because if you've got too much quality, if you don't play so well, then you're gonna be dropped. Somebody else is waiting. So that's what happened, and so I cannot really blame anyone because if it meant I was supposed to play 100% performance each and every game for me to play 30 games, then that's what was expected. And obviously, if I didn't achieve that, where I couldn't perform at 100% every single match, and I was then dropped in for somebody else on rotation. So that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? That's unfortunately, you have to accept certain things. You cannot just blame it on people and say no, but I was rotated or changed or whatever. No, if you keep clean sheets and you keep playing man of the match every game, then they won't change you. So unfortunately, I didn't do that. So that's why I got changed. And that's why I'm saying I don't blame anyone. And, obviously, when my contract ended, then obviously we said and we agreed to part ways, and that was fine with me.
Yeah, and before we wrap up, I know that currently we'll talk about Celtic as we wrap up, but there was the 2015 African Cup of Nations.
Yes.
I'm 25 years old at the time, new in the journalism space, and I know that the biggest criticism of Shakes Mashaba was the decision that it took of Darren Kitt, yourself. I can't remember who was the third goalkeeper.
Brilliant
Kuzwai. I mean, in 3 different matches, 3 different goalkeepers. How were the players responding to that? You're going to an AFCON, you guaranteed only 3 matches, and you used 3 different goalkeepers.
To be honest with you, when we're going into the tournament, Darren Kitt was number one.
Yes.
That was the coach's number one, and even the friendly matches, we could see. But now, as you know, as we prepare, they needed to prepare everyone, and they prepared everyone. And that's what we did, and we played the first game. We lost to Algeria, and Darren Kitt was playing as the number one, and he made a horrible mistake in one of the goals that he conceded, and then the coaches decided to drop him and played me in the second match. We played Senegal, and then we drew the match 1-1. I played well, very well, and we were out mathematically out of the tournament. We've got 1 point. We've got 1 game to go against Ghana, and the coaches decide, then we might as well then give the other goalkeeper a chance, because it's the last game. We are done, we are out. So that's when they actually played Obrid and Kuzwa. Their intention was never to say we're gonna rotate goalkeepers around, we will give each one a game, and so coaches would never know that things would turn out the way they did. So obviously they played Darren Kitt as their number one, as he was gonna play the rest of the tournament. But he made a huge mistake, which they decided, no. His confidence might be low, and blah, 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 and I was there as well already. And so they decided to play me in the second match, and I played well. So you can either decide to continue playing with me. I had done nothing wrong to be dropped. So they could obviously still decide to play me the last match, or they could decide to give the other goalkeeper the last game as well, because anyways, the last game, we are done.
Yeah, I mean,
so
there was a mathematical chance.
That's how it happened, but people did not really know.
Exactly, I mean, for us, we were unhappy. I'm a huge Bafana fan, and we are unhappy with the idea that we could play a tournament. I think it was the first time in our history that I think the World Cup, Mpumalanga got red carded, and you had to play Munip Josephs in 2010. But that was we couldn't understand it at the time. But how was it a negative vibe amongst the squad, which now, because your back four will always have like trust issues behind them if they're not sure who's there. The first guy was the main guy, makes a mistake in the first game. The second guy, they develop a trust, and then there's now a third guy, and there's communication problems and so on.
No, not at all. Remember at that time we really had a solid team where your lineup. I think Mato and Rivaldo were the center backs pairing, and I think Hlachwai was playing right back. So we had a back four that was solid and that knew and that understood each other, and they were playing well. So the goalkeeping issue was honestly never an issue. People just made a big deal out of it, but it was definitely never an issue. It was just a matter of people were obviously already spoiled with maybe having a certain number one for a certain for some time. For example, Itu was number one, and then Senzo became number one in the qualifiers, and then obviously we lose Senzo, Meiso, rest in peace. Now we go into the tournament. Darren Keat is busy now trying to take over the number one, and I was also there giving competition, and obviously Brilliant as well was also trying to come up. So obviously it was a situation that was for people not really being sure and really being convinced who should now take over as number one. And obviously people were starting to accept Darren Keat and to give him a chance. But then he made that hauler in the first match and he was dropped. So, and that's what happened. And like I said, after he got dropped, I played. And the coach could have simply continued with me. But they just explained to me that, okay, you know what, we think there's nothing wrong. We're not dropping you. We just decided to give the other goalkeeper a chance as well, let him play an AFCON game as well, because mathematically when we looked, I think Algeria had won their 2 matches, they beat us, and then I think Ghana had won their 2 matches, so we were now obviously the last match with Ghana, and it wasn't going to really mean much.
Sure.
Yeah,
I mean, as we wrap up then, Bloemfontein Celtic, first things first, just really clearing it up for our audience as to, we'll see Bloemfontein Celtic 1 completing the last 8 matches, and perhaps next season we'll see you and Bloemfontein Celtic back. I mean, there's so much noise about Bidvest Wits moving away. First it was you guys, so just confirm to us, like, will we see you guys completing the last 7 games in the PSL, and next season may we still see you as Bloemfontein Celtic?
I don't know. No, I don't know how to answer the question you're asking me. I think yes, of course we will see us.
Okay.
And yeah,
at least in the last 7 matches you'll complete as Celtic.
Yes, we are. All I know is that the team is Celtics, and the team will remain Celtics. So that's just as far as I know. And of course, we will see Celtics complete the league, and Celtics playing next season in the league.
All right. And when are you? Obviously 32 years old, and is this it for you, or you feel like your body can still carry you forward? I mean, Andre Aronson was 45 years old when he broke the record. What is your intention? You have the foundation. You are a family man. What is your idea about football now, whether you want to continue long term?
Yeah, I'm just getting started. I believe I'm just getting started. I feel good. I'm happy. I'm getting the game time. And just looking forward to putting in the performances and go back to Bafana and complete my career by playing for a few seasons overseas. I still have a long way to go. So I'm just getting started. Yeah.
Nice one. Jackson, thank you very much for giving us the time, sir.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
There you go.
Sure.